Hey guys, welcome to another segment of What's Your Issue with myself, Bernice and
Oneishea.
And today, guys, we do have a very special guest, Daniela, who will be joining us for this segment.
Today we'll be talking about prenups, should you, shouldn't you, some of our general opinions. And so we thought we'd ask a friend to join us for this segment who's also married and share perspective and insights that, we don't have because we be not married.
The not crew.
One day you'll get there.
If that is the goal. So we hope you stick around and we hope you enjoy this. So guys, we're gonna have a conversation about prenups. When people are getting together trying to form a union, it's something that usually comes up. So I want to know, how do you feel, like Bernice, Daniela, how do you feel about the idea of getting a prenup if you're considering a marriage?
For me, yes, it is something that I would consider because I would want to protect certain assets that I have built before our union. So I would have a clause in there in terms of anything that I acquired on my own prior to us getting together is mine. And therefore anything after that we acquire together we can put. But yeah, it is something that I would definitely consider.
Okay, Daniela, what did you
Honestly, I believe that if you love someone and whatever you have, you're married, you should consider it as one.
Okay.
Because in life, you made that decision to get that individual involved in your life, and then all of a sudden, whatever you have is yours. I think it should be a shared asset. Everything you have is a community property. So why would you not? I understand relationship breaks up, but at the same time, you're putting your heart on the line also, right? That's the most important thing.
Can't get a prenup for that.
Yeah, definitely not. What about you, Nisha?
You know what? I'm of two minds, and I'm gonna be really honest. I'm of the mindset of, if you've worked hard for something on your own, and you have made sacrifices, you have suffered for it, then you owe it to yourself to have to take care of that. But I'm also on the side where Daniela is coming from, where it's like you're gonna form a union with someone and you want to go in with like an open heart, an open hand in this type of way. And so once you've committed your heart to the situation, is it counterintuitive to be like, or counterproductive to say, oh, I want to protect my physical property, but how, like, my emotional property is still gonna be at risk? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I stand. I haven't decided on like a definite set of the line yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So you're in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't like to be a middler. But in this case, there would be other considerations before I could definitely say this is where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so moving on, in the event that, say, you've decided that, I'm going to get a prenup, what will be some things to consider? Like, what would be some of the reasons to get you to that decision? Like Bernice, you'd mentioned protecting like things that you've earned, and I myself have touched on that. But I'm sure for many other people, there are other things at risk, right? And I think it's important to acknowledge that some of what those things might be, where that's not just, what you've worked for, but...
I think, like, for instance, if I was supposed to marry somebody who's rich, and we're from different background, he's Italian and black, his family will come in and scoop everything up. That would be the only time.
Ooh, that's the type.
That would be the only time I would consider a prenup, and that prenup would have to be in case of my death. This is what I would leave to you. So in that sense, his family cannot come and say, well, this is my son's hard-earned money.
Right, but I understand that. But I think usually, like, people do prenups before the marriage, right? So are you saying that, like, you'd want it because of how his family might be?
That's the only thing. That's the only reason why I would get one.
Right. I think some people get it to protect like maybe generational wealth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you've inherited something that someone dear to you, your father, your grandmother, whoever, like endowed to you, and now you know you're in a position where this is a legacy that you want to maintain within your family. it's gonna be hard to just open up yourself to someone who might have access to that without even understanding the struggles that
you have to endure to get that. Yeah, for me, it would be ensuring that like my daughter is definitely protected, and ensuring that if anything does happen to me, she gets what.
But there are wills and stuff that you can use for that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that would be like one for me, like a prenup. That would one of the major things that would push me to get a prenup would be considering my daughter.
Right, okay,
yeah. You know what I mean? In terms of making sure that, regardless, yes, I love you, you're somebody that's important to me, but I want to make sure that whatever I've acquired and whatever you and I acquired together, that she's protected. Because in the event something happens to me, your lifestyle is going to change.
Right, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So I need to ensure that my asset, my daughter, is definitely protected.
So how about... from the other point of view, in the sense that imagine now you are trying to we're trying to marry, and then someone comes to you and be like, okay, you're like, I love this man, whatever, he's my whole world, whatever, and then he comes to you and he's like, oh, I want a prenup. Like, so like Daniela, how would you have felt if your husband had asked?
I'd be like, dude, are you crazy? I'm not signing that.
But why though? But for me, I would want to know why.
Yeah.
Why? The why is important. Like why?
For me, I love you. And whatever you have is mine. Whatever I have, I might want to share with you.
I might want to
seriously. That's what I tell my husband all the time. Yours is mine, mine is mine. So at the end of the day, whatever you have is mine. And that's it. But I wouldn't want for my husband to come and say, I want a prenup. Because the first thing, what do you own, sir?
Yeah.
Like, let me know, because when you were trying to talk to me, quote me, you didn't think we needed a prenup for you to talk to me.
Yeah, so that's a good point.
You want me in your life in a legal way. You want a prenup? No.
That's a good point.
Let's work this out.
Okay.
Let's agree that if we decide to go our separate ways, we're going to be fair to each other. And that's all that there is. Because at the end of the day, it's paperwork.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with the legal problems. Give me what's mine. Go away. We're good.
But what about if you're with somebody, and this is another thing too that would force me or make me have that consider to get a prenup is, like, you're with that person, right? And you kind of notice certain traits, and then as time goes on, like, the person changes.
I mean, people change anyway.
Yeah.
But if you are already married, you can get the prenup, right? Like, so I think it's for some people it's preventative. It's like, if people are going to change, things are going to change.
Yeah.
These are things that I want to remain mine.
Yeah, exactly.
But for me personally, if someone asks me, like the man I'm, in love with and decide that I'm going to marry, ask me to get a prenup, there would have to be a conversation. Initially, I would feel some type of way, I'm not going to lie. And that would simply be because I would look at it as though he probably thinks that I'm trying to get what he already has.
Yeah.
And I would wonder, like, did I present something in my behavior for this man to think that I'm after his money or, whatever he considered valuable.
So I think also you have to ask yourself, who's benefiting from this prenup?
Yeah.
Are we both walking away with something? Because there are prenups that says if you get caught cheating, you don't get nothing.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter how many years you're married.
So don't get caught.
Well, that's a good one. But no matter how many years you're married to this person, you still, because of this clause, this prenup, you still left empty-handed. So really and truly, if I'm going to sign a prenup, I want full details. I want to make sure that I am covered. You're going to sign something, make sure you're getting something out of it.
Yeah, it has to be fair, definitely.
How would you feel, Bernice, if someone asked you?
I actually would welcome it because I would want us to have that conversation about our livelihood and where we're going. Because, like I said earlier, for me, protecting what I have prior to us getting married is important to me. And being preventative, like, I'm aware that our relationship might change.
Right, okay.
So right now you love me, but then 5 years down the road, fucking Bernice, I want to kill her. And then you might change into somebody else. So at least we both can have that understanding prior. And you know what's yours, I know what's mine, and we know collectively what's ours and what we're gonna divide once we. But I can welcome that conversation about the prenup.
I think it's a valuable conversation, but like we are saying it from the position of not having been there, right? Like we've never had to make that decision or engage in that conversation. So I think we have the luxury of being objective because it doesn't impact us directly.
Yeah,
but I do think like it's not a conversation that should be taken lightly.
Oh, definitely not.
And I do think for me personally, I know that emotionally I would have a reactive element. Like I would say, oh, what is it about me that you might think, you know, makes you want to have this thing? But I do think it's not personal to the person. Like, we're all trying to protect what we've earned for ourselves because, and especially in cases where you've been through a breakup and you've been through a heartache, you kind of know what's on the line too. And after you've healed, you're like, oh crap, this is what I wish I had.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of people are really probably coming from that space, right?
Yeah. But I feel like the way they approach the conversation, Nisha, like you said, is what turns a lot of people off. And the whole stigma around prenuptial, there's nothing wrong with that. Have that conversation because it is part of the whole process of getting married, whether we like it or not.
But this is a conversation that's not readily it's not readily had, especially within our community. I've never had this conversation with anybody within my community of my culture, and that could be because of socioeconomical things. Like we weren't born wealthy, so I mean, if we had wealth, maybe that would be a conversation that would be
that's true,
an everyday type of thing. But
I also feel like just that negative connotation that's surrounded by prenuptials in terms of how it's like, oh, if I ask my husband or vice versa, it's like you just want what I have. No, it's not. It's about both of us protecting our interest and our investments, right, and moving forward and having that clarity. So I think that conversation in our communities, Nisha, you're right, I don't see it being had, but it is a conversation that we do need to all have to take away that stigma of it being like a gold digging type of narrative, you know?
Okay, yeah, definitely. Daniela, what do you think? Do you have anything else to add?
I agree with you.
Okay, but where's the disagreement?
I still would say I would not even think about it. I understand, but when I say I do, maybe I'm from old school.
Okay.
But when I said I do, it meant whatever we have together, because people can start from scratch together.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But whatever we have together belongs to both of us.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
And if we need paperwork for that, to me, that's just not right.
Yeah. Right. I understand.
I also understand that you here, but maybe have your own kids and whatever you gathered for yourself outside of this marriage, that's what you want to keep for your kids.
Yeah.
Right? What if he doesn't have kids now? So whatever he gathered in the marriage is for your kid and...
Well, if he doesn't have any children coming prior, whatever he's acquired is his. You know, that's where for me it's like, okay, whatever you've acquired prior to us being married is okay, but however you can have your clause in there, that's yours, that's mine, but whatever we gain together as a couple, then honestly I have no problems dividing it equally. And even with certain things, I guess for me personally, it would really depend. I need to know that this person is going to be fair.
But this goes back to what I'm trying to say, right? What if now he comes in with $1 million and he's filthy rich, and together he decided, I got my money already, there's nothing we're gonna do together, it's gonna make me richer. There's no progress in your relationship, there's nothing coming forward. What do you walk away with?
Yeah, I'm gonna walk away with nothing, but at the same time, that's whatever he acquired prior to me is his. Just like whatever I acquire prior to him is mine. But then again, in all fairness though, like Nisha said earlier, I haven't been put in that situation to really honestly be in that where I have to really think about it realistically and let it really fester. It's like, okay, now I'm in this situation. How am I really going to handle it? It's easier for me to sit here because I've not been in that situation. And idealistically, that is what I want. For whatever it is prior to me is yours, it's mine. Whatever we accumulate together, let's divide it up. Right. You know?
I've known people who have gone through the process. And I've even observed one interaction where these are people who are engaged, right? And so prior to moving forward with the wedding, they were going, like, they each had their own lawyers, and they were drafting up what they want in the contract, because each party had their own place, right? And the emotional stress that had on the not the marriage, the relationship. And from an observer looking at it, I was like, oh my God, like, imagine this was a divorce.
Yeah.
Like, just down to, like, the nitty gritty. Yeah. You know what I mean? It had to be so specific, and language had to be so specific. And I thought to myself, if I was placed in that situation, at that time of making this observation, I would have developed some resentment towards that person.
Yeah.
And I think it's natural to admit that, because it is like you're in a situation where you're like, you're being forced to consider, am I just after this person for what they've acquired?
Yeah.
Like, don't I have value too? You're
not definitely.
And so while I do understand the process of protecting what you have, because I feel strongly about that, I do think that it's not an easy conversation. For some people might be. But whereas you, Daniela, who feels like, you know, we're in it for love, and that is what matters, like, I think that has value too, because coming from that perspective, you're really going to consider, does this person think I'm out to rob him? Yeah. Like, I don't want your shit. Yeah. Like, I can get my own shit.
But can we be in it from the two perspectives, Nisha, where I'm in it for love, but I'm also protecting?
I don't know. Possibly, because people have gone through this, and they have been okay.
Yeah.
So I think the missing key to this conversation is really someone who's actually gone through it.
Yeah.
And, you know, to share what that looks like.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
So guys, thank you for having us. Thank you for joining our conversation. We appreciate that you stuck with us, and we would love to have your opinion on this, because this is a complex issue, and we have very limited perspective from which we're addressing this issue. And if you've been through it, if you know someone who's been through it, you know, like, let us know your opinion. Are you for it or against it? Do you want to do it? Should you do it?
Yeah.
You know, so let us know.
Like, subscribe, and share. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.